because there is another way. I know what it feels like to be a fraud. I know what it is to feel uncertain. I know what it is to be afraid. And I also know none of those feelings are my true reality. There is another way.
Set It Off Sunday.
It's funny because I was watching this show. It kind of reminds me of me and you, man. It's funny. These two guys from California. You probably heard of one of them. He's a really popular tattoo artist named Cartoon. You heard of Cartoon?
No.
Well, Cartoon is he's responsible for tattooing everybody under the sun, bro. And the rap, like 50 Cent, Eminem. He did Beyonce. He's done Justin Timberlake. He's done everybody hip hop and everybody. Snoop Dogg, you name it, he's done it. Well, he started out drawing. You know what I'm saying? He did album covers. He was a graffiti artist. Well, his best friend was this other gentleman who was a cameraman who took pictures. So they went on tour with House of Pain and D12, and as he did the tattoos, his boy did all the pictures and videos. And from that point, his boy went to doing like production.
Yeah.
And they were like best friends. And like I said, it just reminded me of me and you because it was like
they
came together all the time just trying to build, you know what I'm saying? And they created this thing called SA Studios in California, right on Skid Row. And they had the production studio in there, and they had the tattoo parlor in there, and they just did their thing, bro, and they just rose to the top. You know what I'm saying? So I'm surprised you being a tattoo guy, you never heard of Cartoon, but Cartoon, like I said, he's nasty. All his all his characters, like, West Coast, essays and shit like that. So he's nice.
That's probably why I never heard of him, because he's heavy on the West Coast. Yeah. But even with that, like, I don't know, man. I have my artists and I just do my work. You know what I mean? So I never really got into like other artists' work and stuff like that until I moved out of Fall River. The reality of it. I love tattoos though. I do. I should get more into the culture of it. I want to talk to your boy Jeremy too. So I do want to get some work done soon.
Yeah, everything that I've done so far to this date has been all based off of either things that I love or family based. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I noticed there's two things that I gravitate toward right now in my life is prayer hands / rosary beads and lions. Yeah. Those are two things that I love tattoos of. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, I'm just probably gonna stick with that theme because I don't want to waver, but that's who we are. So but yeah, man, that's what it is, man.
I wanted to show you this book. It's called The Way of Men.
I've heard of that book. I know it's not from you, but I've heard of it. I haven't read it yet, but I heard of it.
So Jack Donovan, I don't know too much about him specifically, but I started reading this book, and in the early chapters, we were talking. I started chatting a little bit about what I learned with you and Xander about the whole testosterone boy, about how studies are starting to reveal that men today are producing less testosterone than men of the past. So like, when I first saw this, it was like men today are not producing as much testosterone as men in the past. So I immediately thought of like, how you make fun of your grandfather. Your grandfather's talking about back in my day, we used to walk uphill, 7 miles both ways, and they talk about how tough they really were compared to today's generation, and how, the next generation is getting softer and softer. And now there's actually research starting to support that very idea that generations moving forward, as far as the men in that society, are literally getting softer because they're producing less testosterone. And testosterone is responsible for muscle development, burning fat, energy. It's responsible for, it's literally the sauce that makes a man a man. And I just think that it's crazy that, due to the societal lifestyle changes that we're having, men are becoming less masculine.
So before you said that, you actually you answered the question I was going to ask you. And the question was why? You know, what is it that's causing this? Is it diet? Is it the social lifestyle that men have today? Is it stress? What is it overall that's causing this to happen? You know what I'm saying? And it's probably a combination of all of it. You know what I mean? Because we all know the diet does have a fact in it. Because it's funny because a few years ago I was actually right as I turned 40 years old, I was going to take a test boost, nothing major, just to get my body right to work out. So I actually went to my doctor. I was going to do it all legit. And my doctor took my test levels and she told me, she goes, Lawrence, you don't need it. She goes, your testosterone for your age is actually above average. She goes, you don't need to take any more testosterone.
Right.
And I'm like, a lot of guys use that for, to help out with their libido, for more energy, for muscle development and all that. But I didn't need it. And I thought that was kind of strange because once you turn 40, it starts to decline. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Overall. Right. And I was actually.
So what made you feel like you needed it though?
Basically, at the time, I was working out a lot, what I'm saying? And my diet was a little bad and I was always fatigued. And all the guys that I've actually worked out with that did a test boost, it just helped them in the gym. That was the sole reason why I was doing it. For nothing more, nothing less, you know what I'm saying? I didn't feel like bad as far as in the bedroom or nothing of that nature. I just decided I wanted to take a test boost instead of going the whole steroid route, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of guys go steroids and all that, and then guys combine test boosts also with steroids. But I just wanted to do it just to do it to get more, like I said, get that extra lift in the gym.
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't want to go underground. I went to my doctor because you do it the wrong way, you can mess your body up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, you can hurt yourself.
Went to my doctor. She did blood work. I went legit with it, and she was like, "Nah, you're good."
Here's the thing here's the thing that grabs me is one of the most important things that you need to protect in society as a human being right now is your credit. But the most important thing that you need to protect as a man is your testosterone production. And I don't think that we pay attention or talk about it enough as men. Young men really don't pay any attention to it because their testosterone is flowing in there. They're doing everything.
Yeah, but is it flowing though? They don't know.
That's my point.
You know what I'm saying? They don't know.
That's exactly my point. And I think that there needs to be a lot more focus on, young men being educated on what testosterone really is and how they can protect it. I mean, gaining weight, you hit it right in the head. Gaining weight, having a crazy diet, not getting enough sleep, can affect the amount of testosterone your body naturally produces. But in addition to that, if you start developing bad habits as a young man, you're going to carry those same bad habits into becoming a mature man, an older man. And those bad habits, could be the catalyst to start your decline in testosterone. So I think it's important that young men start to really do their research, start to understand, what testosterone is all about, why it's important as a male to have a healthy production of it, and how to get it. So I put together. We had the Scepter team get together and put together an article specifically on that. I mean, first and foremost, I think anybody should pick up this book. I don't know Jack Donovan, but if you're a man or a young man, it's definitely a good book. It's great, some great insight, not just on testosterone production, but just on being a man and understanding why men do men things. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, we put together an article that talks about some of the top things that men need to do in order to produce testosterone. It's on our website, thespectrumcompany.com. So you definitely want to check that out. I'm sure we'll be sharing on Facebook the whole 9 yards. But I'm going to read a little bit of some of the stuff that we have, in the article. I'm only going to give some teasers because I want people to read the article and really get in depth.
But as you look for what you're going to say, I just want to add to that. You know what I'm saying? Because as we all know, testosterone is important, but more importantly is like you said, the maintenance of it. You know what I mean? And a lot of it comes from diet. A lot of people don't realize that. And I tell you what, my diet isn't great, but I know my diet affects how I feel.
Right.
And overall production of everything. You know what I'm saying? So A lot of people when I was young, I didn't care about my diet, bro. Let's face it. I was eating whatever I can eat because my metabolism was high. Everything was going well. But as you get older, like I said, I'll be 47 in August, bro. So the way I eat now has to change a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these young guys don't realize they're still producing testosterone and making kids. They're trying to start families. It all ties into it, man. I'm being honest, man. You know. So
no, you're absolutely right. And I think about like you've got these dudes that have they've been lifting weights since 14, eating the right foods since they were kids, and they now go on into their 40s and 50s and 60s, and they look phenomenal because they developed the right habits. CT Fletcher, man. CT Fletcher is a 60-year-old bodybuilder that, he has his own gym. He's had his own heart complications, and he's done, the eating 17 Big Macs lifestyle. But he also is on the eating healthy and doing it right. And I mean, this dude at 60 looks amazing, and has, and probably can whip you and I together at this point because he's just killing the game. So he's a prime example of a person who just developed the right habits early in life and was able to capitalize on that. So I want to read. Go ahead, go for it, man. Before I
just two things I want to add to that. But also it's important too is genetics. Also, let's face it. If you have good genetics, it helps. And also people have to understand too. Along the lines I said about the whole test boost, a lot of people don't realize if you start taking some type of like testosterone boost, your body only can take so much and produce so much. So what happens is if you do start taking testosterone, the natural testosterone in your body shuts down. A lot of people don't realize that. So it only produces so much. So once you get off of it, it has to catch back up. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a spike. Right. Yeah. It's a spike. So a lot of guys, they continue to take testosterone because once they get off of it, the levels go back down. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you got to be real cautious about anything you do, obviously, but that's pretty big. That's why a lot of these guys do have heart conditions because of that, because they put too much in their body, and the heart is a muscle. It expands and then explodes, and a lot of bodybuilders die from heart failure or heart attacks because of testosterone boosts and steroids and all other things. But that's a whole other
desire to build strength.
That's a whole other conversation for another day, because I mean, fitness is part of what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? So we'll be talking to guys about that and going forward. So
exactly right. So here's an article that's on our website. It's thesetramcompany.com. We'll definitely post it in the links. I'm not going to read the whole article, but there's just a quick piece that I want to read. It's about testosterone, and I just lost it. Oh, there it is. So it says, testosterone is the essence of men. It is thought to regulate sex drive, bone mass, fat distributions, muscle mass, and strength, and the production of red blood cells and sperm. Since testosterone is a male hormone, it can result in decreases of libido, infertility, increased fatigue, insomnia, depression, and trouble with memory and concentration. So this one chemical in our body handles so much of us being a man, being healthy, being able to develop and grow. It's right next to the proteins that that every human being needs, and it's so important to protect it. And the four things that we're encouraging people to do is men to do is first and foremost to challenge your body. So lift weights, go to the gym. Make sure you're getting you're having a healthy diet. And, supplementing is always good. It's so important to supplement nowadays. As, with everything that's going on in this world, we don't get enough of the nutrients that we need. We're moving too quickly as human beings, and we're consuming a lot more chemicals now than and preservatives rather than the natural, the good shit that people
need.
We need.
Right.
Yeah. That's the bottom line. And just always stay competitive. I think that competition is super important. You look at the NFL, you look at, even as us older dudes, we're playing sports and do what we're going to do. As men, our natural instinct is to provide and protect. So, when we put our body into those normal, those comfortable situations, like being in competition, it's almost almost like simulating, you know, the old school man fighting a bear or fighting the tiger. It's getting the blood flowing, and that plays a big part in the testosterone production. And I think that's, you know, it's something that I really didn't start thinking about until I read this book. Heavy. I mean, it's always been in the back of my mind, but now after reading that study and after saying some of this kind of makes sense, whereas like there is this, I do believe that there is this decrease in masculinity, and scientifically that may be the reason why. It's because our bodies, young men, are not getting the testosterone production. You know, they're not getting that juice. They're not getting the juice that you know that was again 40, 50, 60, 100 years ago. You know what I mean? And it's troublesome. You know what I mean?
It's very alarming, actually, because, you know, it goes with the times. Because you made a comment before about back in my day. And, you know, when I was a kid and I watched my grandfather and my uncles and stuff, how they grew up and how they were raised, if you will, right? Back in their day, it was different. Yeah. And even with us, we could say back in our day, but our kids don't have that back in our day because they don't see what we saw and they don't go through what we go through. And that's a big part of it, you know what I mean? And, you know, we have to, as men, we have to change that.
You know what I love right now? And it's you know, I'm probably going to get some hate comments or whatever. You can say what you want about the coronavirus and, you know, COVID-19 and all that stuff. It's horrible. This pandemic is crazy. But I love the fact that I can go outside right now and I see so many kids playing in the streets, bro. I see so many kids back to riding their bikes and playing kickball. And I get it, they're not supposed to, you know, they got to have social distancing and all that great stuff. And I think it's definitely important, but I love the fact that I'm seeing kids back out on the streets playing, bro. I haven't seen that in such a great, I haven't seen it as large of an amount as I see it now. These kids are stuck at home all day. They're in the house. And originally, I think they thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread. But now they're so cooped up that they want to go outside. And I haven't seen that in a long time. I see more people going for walks now than I've ever seen. I've seen, you know, more men talking about, you know, their health and being conscious because they now have the time, you know. So again, this pandemic is a horrible thing, but I think it's proof to show that, you know, as a society, mankind is moving too fast at times. Once we slowed shit down, you know, our carbon footprint became less. The world itself started healing itself. People are healing themselves. There are conversations being had that need to be had that weren't being had before because I was too busy. I got to go to work. I got to go to work. I got to go to work. You know, so I mean, the ability to slow things down and start to really look at, you know, where we're at and what we really need, like what we really, really need, because we all have a lot of shit that we don't need. You know, that's just the truth. We all have a bunch of stuff that we buy, and it's not even to impress somebody else, but it's the idea of making us feel good. And the fact of the matter is, being with your family and taking care of your health and starting to really focus on what's real, that's what's going to make you feel good. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I didn't mean to veer off too far from testosterone, but I think it all ties in. You know what I mean?
It all ties in. And to add what you were saying about the kids being outside and things like that, also it creates dialogue because, you know, being around your kids all day or being in the house and communicating, it's just helping them as well. Right. Because a lot of these kids can't talk to each other because they're stuck on like video games and social media. And like you said, you can only do that for so long before it gets boring. Now you have to go outside and ride your bike and things like that. Like I was out today and I seen a couple people outside in the street with their kids riding bikes. And you're right, like you don't see that. I was born down south. You see it all the time. But now you're seeing it more often here. And it's unfortunately it's forcing people to be with their kids, but they're beginning to realize that they're enjoying being with their kids and is allowing men to be men.
Yeah.
Think about it. Yeah. They're teaching the kids how to ride a bike, or they're teaching the kids how to play catch, or, you know what I mean? So things that they couldn't do before because they didn't have the time, they're now doing. So now it's allowing them to do things that they should have been doing from the beginning. And that's just be a man and raise their family. You know what I mean? Yeah. And all that ties into testosterone because, If your father's not there or somebody's not teaching you, you can't do it yourself. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. And what you said was perfect. What you said was perfect. The idea of keeping the family nucleus together. You know, if you're able to keep the family tight and have those conversations, you're as a father, your connection with your family, your bond grows tighter, and that allows you to develop a greater sense of responsibility, which makes you want to protect and provide even more, which goes right back into that testosterone production, because now your mind is in the right place to start developing and creating the things that your body needs.
Correct.
You hit it right on the head. I just wanted to go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you though.
No, I mean, I was actually just wrapping up what I was saying, but again, it all makes sense because, like you said, the world needed something like this to happen in order for things to change. And a lot of people are saying, I can't wait to get back to the way things were. I don't want it to get back to the way we were. It should always change, because the way things are now, if we could just keep it this way and go forward, but have the same mindset, the world would be a better place. Just be more conscious of self and what you're doing and taking care of your family and, you know, being strong as a man and a woman, you know what I'm saying? And just, you know, just moving forward, I think we'll be fine, you know? So,
yeah. So somebody I forget where I saw it, it was on the news, maybe Facebook, whatever, somebody in China actually spray painted it on a wall. If we go back to the way that we were, then we're going to have the same exact problems. So, you know, that kind of ties into what you're saying. Is you're absolutely right. We can't go backwards. That's, first of all, not necessary. And I believe not, you know, it's detrimental to our health. You know, there definitely needs to start becoming, there definitely needs to be a change, new developments, new processes. And like, I was talking to my kid, I said, the kids are going to school online right now. I said, don't be surprised if they start developing new ways for you guys to learn after this is all said and done. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't bring the kids back to school ever and just started doing everything online. You have your stadiums, you have your gyms, you can still do your basketball events and your football events, but the majority of classroom time is now spent at home on a computer. Even the same thing with companies. There are companies that have been forced to send all of their employees home, and now they're starting to recognize that, hey, maybe we don't need a brick and mortar building. And they might be right.
Before on that same topic, even if like not going back to school at all, at least having like a summer program. You know what I'm saying? Where kids can go to school in the summertime for more advanced learning, or kids that are behind, they might say, okay, listen, we're going to have these kids, summer school at home online, because, that might be the new norm, because of the kids that are failing or kids that have attention problems, if you will. They might hire a staff of teachers and say, okay, your job is to stay at home.
That was me.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no, seriously, because I mean, my wife works in that field. She works with kids like that now. And even though she's home from school, she goes to in-house therapy every day. And she, buddy of mine developed this business, and he hired her, and she goes to New Bedford and Fall River, and she tutors a kid at home. It's in-house therapy, but that kid is one-on-one. Let's say if that kid needs that again and she can't do it because she's back to work, she can easily do that online via Zoom, via Skype. You know what I'm saying? So that is going to be a way of the world. I mean, guys like me and you who use our hands every day might change, but I mean, we're going to still be out on the front lines.
We're adjusting to it now. I mean, even the same thing with the podcast. This is usually something that you and I, we meet up, we're at the office or whatever, and we're doing it, but we're taking advantage of Zoom.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So in some of our other industries, things may change, but even we're forced to develop and to grow, which I love. I think right now, I think this is one of the best times to be a human being. And there are a lot of people that may disagree with me. I don't want to seem insensitive to anybody that's struggling while all this is going on. But the greatest things happen through pain and suffering, and we're being forced to change. One of the greatest miracles that any person can have ever is to have a child being born. And think of all the labor and the pain and the gross shit that comes out, you know what I mean, that's going on during labor. But the outcome of it is something so beautiful and so precious that changes your life forever. And that that after after that baby's there, you can't even think about how you live life before that child.
So right now, man, you can actually create a T-shirt saying the world is in labor.
Yeah.
You could let's market that, man. Write that down. I'm just saying, because think about it, you're right, because when this is over, it's a new time. Exactly. It's like being born again. Yeah. So in essence, the world right now is in labor. We're going through pain, we're going through suffering, you know what I'm saying? And the world's changing. But once it's over, we have to just, adapt to a new world order. And that's what it is.
And I think there will be a new beautiful way. I don't know what that way is. I'm kind of, honestly, man, the one thing that makes me nervous right now is the people that are so worried about, the government and we don't want chips inside of us, and this is the beginning of the government taking us over and the separation and the divide. Look, man, I don't know, what the government has planned. I don't want to say I don't care, because I do care. But at the end of the day, like, I want to put myself in a position where I control me and I control my environment. And the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is if I stay focused right now, and if I put in the work, and if I build the businesses and the strategies that I want to build to put myself in a position to where if I don't like what's going on in the US, I can hop on a plane and leave. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like put yourself in that position rather than trying to figure out how to screw the system or overthrow. Like, I don't
Yeah, but those same people that you speak of, which I don't know who they are, is probably the same people who are still waiting on that stimulus check to come in.
Yeah, I'm saying it's nobody in particular.
Right.
Just,
no, I know, but
you know what I mean?
I get the same conversation.
Yeah, you see these
everybody's
things.
like, I want my money. Where's my money? And I'm like, you know what? If you didn't have this money, then what would you be doing?
Right.
You'd be just sitting on your butt waiting for money to come in. I mean, it's gonna come if it comes, and those people are gonna be the ones that's gonna spend that money. You get money now. What you gonna do? Pay bills, go buy shoes, whatever. You can't go anywhere. It's you're stuck in the house. So what are you gonna buy with this money? You know what I'm saying? Invest that money wisely. Take some online courses. Do whatever. But
that's part of being a man, bro. Right there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's part of being a man right there. Is making the decision of, hey, okay, we're in a position where, I want to put myself in a position where my family doesn't have to rely on the government. Your obligation as a provider is to protect and to provide. And if you're not putting in the work, I don't want to say, it's not easy to do, but put in the work to put your family in a position to where they don't have to rely on the government, then you're not trying to protect your family fully, I believe. I'm sorry, that's how I feel.
Nah, it's nothing wrong with how you feel. I mean, like I said, but you're different though. I mean, you've been there, you've done that. I mean, you put in the work. You know that it can work if you put the work in. Yeah. A lot of people don't want to put the work in.
Right, and that's what bothers me. You're right, but that's what bothers me, because it's not about the end result to me. It's about the effort. You know what I mean? So like, listen, like if you're just going to work just to pay bills and die, I mean, hey, that's good for you, but I don't believe that's your full obligation. Like, I don't believe that. I believe your full obligation as a family man is to protect and provide for your family by any, not by any means, that's the wrong word, but to protect and provide by your family completely, and that goes with educating your kids on how to be model citizens, but also educating your kids on how to generate income, in tough times, and educating your kids on how to, think like a businessman or a businesswoman, be entrepreneurial. That doesn't mean that they can't go work for somebody else, but they need to understand that how money really works and how society works, and how, like, a lot of the rules out there are really just bullshit rules. And
just trying to teach them how to be an independent thinker. You know what I'm saying? Think for themselves.
Yes.
And being able to, react to those things
and question everything. Stop being, sheep and just saying, well, this is the way it is, so this is what I got to do. Like, question it. Yeah. That's why. Do you be authentic? Just like we said, be 100% authentically you. You know what I mean? And even at that time, question yourself, because there's always room to grow and to develop. So. I don't know, man. You know how I get. I go on these tangents.
Nah, man. But like I said, I mean, going on those tangents actually just shows you who you are and what you're trying to do, because it's not about yourself. You're about trying to help everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it comes down to, man. I mean,
yeah, man. Yeah, man. I love what we do. I love helping people. I love the fact that, we're two men that are looking to create a brand that is focused on helping men find who they are.
Right.
You know, and I don't know, man. I could go on and on about that, but I'm not going to. Bottom line is, back to the original topic, there is some huge changes going on in the as far as masculinity goes. And as men, we need to start really waking up, start doing our research, start really understanding what's going on with our bodies, and start developing new ways to get our bodies back to where they need to be. I mean, that's just it in a nutshell. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. So with that being said, bro, I'm gonna wrap this up. I think that we covered this to a T, man. The bottom line is we're telling men to get out there, get healthy, get that testosterone flowing, and we'll see you next week, right?
Yes, sir, man.
Peace.
Peace.